Over 40 years have passed since the beginning of the HIV and AIDS epidemic. And while scientific progress has us talking about U equal U, Black communities remain disproportionately affected by HIV. We must honor the legacy of Winston, Usman, and Wangari Taro, whose advocacy laid the foundation for the African and Caribbean Council on HIV and AIDS, ACHO, to develop the ACB strategy. This is a vital tool in addressing HIV within Black communities.
ACHO has to respond to HIV using an intersectional approach in a cultural appropriate lens, addressing issues around homelessness, anti-Black racism, access to HIV services, and dismantling systems of oppressions that creates greater vulnerability for ACB folks.
At ACHO, we work tirelessly to uplift the African, Caribbean, and Black community by fostering open communication, advocating for our rights, and confronting systemic barriers that affect us disproportionately.
We strive to build the capacity of service providers and frontline workers in the African, Caribbean, and Black communities. Through workshops, educational initiatives, we work together to inspire informed actions, foster partnerships, and promote the well-being of those impacted by HIV/AIDS.
Yet today, we still face the critical challenge of insufficient race-based data to inform meaningful interventions. Black people represent 25% of all first-time new HIV diagnoses in Ontario, despite being only 5% of the population. This data gap hinders our ability to respond effectively to unique needs of our communities. With 16 ACB strategy workers on the front line across Ontario, ACHO is committed to addressing these disparities through an anti-Black racism and anti-oppression lens.
Here at ACHO, we do not directly interface with community, and therefore partnership engagement is crucial to the work that we do. It provides the opportunity for wider reach of our community members, leveraging resources, and identifying gaps and responding appropriately.
Black people don't necessarily trust the system, and rightfully so, because the system has not given us a chance to trust it. Like, you come in, you see a Black person attending to you at first, you feel validated.
Basic and as simple as someone walking into your office and they see someone that looks like them. You can tell that they are put at ease even more.
They lit up and they opened up and they were very free, and they ended up telling me why they need these condoms, and we ended up having an interaction, and I ended up giving them more education about safe sex.
Overall, we see over 700 HIV positive ACB women, and it's not like a one-time, this is regular. These are regular clients that have to keep coming for services because it's ongoing.
I can see a discomfort on people's face when I talk about condoms, when I talk about harm reduction materials, when I talk about lubricants. Then I understand why people are feeling the discomfort because I am from that culture.
Strategy workers' role is to engage and serve ACB communities in a culturally relevant manner. ACB communities are not homogenous, so there isn't like a one-size-fits-all approach to the implementation of the ACHO strategy or various campaigns.
I remember back then when I started working as a strategy worker in 2009, the first 3 months I really got lost myself. After that, when people walk in, any Black person that walk in through that door, oh, you want to talk to Hawa? It's like it's the only Hawa that has to deal with Black people.
People feel comfortable where they see themselves and who they see as a reflection of who they are. And it's also creates that sense of safety, and also recognizing that you're not alone.
We're fighting against like stigma. So you have so many taboos, even trying to talk to the community about like
sex in general is still a taboo for a lot of people. So I think that's one of the main challenges that we face today.
Winter are like relatively like small, so sometimes even reaching out to the ACB community might be kind of like difficult. But ever since I started in this position, I've like tried to like just reach out to a bunch of like ACB communities. I go to like I've gone to like ACB like a restaurant that like sell the ACB community. I've gone to like Nigerian restaurant, gone to like a Jamaican restaurant, just like give them like flyers and say, oh, this is what I do at my job. Like if someone like comes in, you can like give them, and they're always like so excited. They're like, oh yes.
So I work with settlement agencies, and sometimes you go in a settlement agency and they see me as somebody they can identify, and they come with a whole baggage that they need help with.
Le premier exemple que je vais prendre, c'est l'exemple d'une femme qui nous a été référée de Toronto, qui est arrivée ici un matin avec tous ses bagages, tous ses sacs. Elle était tellement désespérée, elle avait un problème avec l'immigration et elle voulait rencontrer Trudeau. Ça nous a fait un peu sourire, mais on a quand même écouté cette dame nous raconter son histoire. Elle a pleuré, nous avons pleuré avec elle. La première chose que nous avons fait, c'est d'aller trouver un abri. On a trouvé une maison où ça dormait la nuit et le lendemain matin, on l'a conduit au bureau de notre député où on a eu la chance de rencontrer des gens qui nous ont écoutés, qui l'ont écouté. Elle a exposé son problème et après cela, cette dame, son procès a été revu. Donc, ils ont écrit à l'immigration, elle a eu la chance de repasser à la cour et aujourd'hui, je pense qu'elle est citoyenne canadienne et elle vit toujours à Toronto. Je pense qu'elle est contente. Chaque fois que j'y vais, je la rencontre.
It's helpful for people to feel like they're not alone, and also they have, you know, community members or friends or people who are from their home country that also are having these conversations.
As soon as she saw my name, she could identify that she was from the same parts of South Africa. She was able to connect with me and she shared her story that if it wasn't for that day, the day she came in and I was in the office, she would have left and gone home and decided to just pack up and go back to her home country.
Why I to create this strategy? Because we are different from other community. Most of the time when you have a meeting appointment with people, they come always late. And I understand myself, you know, it's very important to wait for them because sometimes it's difficult to navigate the transportation system to come down here or dealing with kids.
Mother's Day, we had an event, we had a little social gathering. It was amazing to see how happy they seem to be in our space, and there is a lot of stigma surrounding HIV and people don't like to talk about it as much. Coming up with this event, it helped us address so many other issues like the stigma, like racism, obviously, but it was with the mothers, you know, because I mean, who doesn't love their mom?
It makes our heart fill with warmth when people call us and tell us that, oh, I started my treatment right now. I'm connected to a specialist. People might call you and say, I just got a job, a new job. Or sometimes people would call you and say, because of your letter, I was successful in my immigration hearing.
Remember and commit is a very appropriate theme for me this year because it makes us to remember the people that have lost their lives to HIV and to commit ourselves to fighting this epidemic, fighting the stigma and discrimination that continues to affect the ACB folks that live with HIV/AIDS.
Let us deliver our services to these people with love. I understand it's really hard, but there is no reason as to why we could be harsh because of color, because someone is having HIV, because of any reasons. Let's deliver services to people with love.
I think for me is remembering the journey that the people before me walked when things were tough up to where I am right now. If it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be here with the knowledge that I have now. And thinking of that history gives me the strength and gives me the drive and the push to continue this journey, fighting stigma, to continue educating the community to reduce the stigma, and also educating the community on the advancement of the science that, you know, that milestone has come a long way, and making them understand that it's very important to me, and making them understand that yes, we've had a lot of traumas with the health system, but if we don't say something, if we don't do anything, nothing is going to change.
It's important that we advocate for, you know, changes of policies and even funding, because without that, the work that we're doing is useless. We find that even the work that I'm doing here at the Black Coalition for AIDS Prevention, Black Cap, we've been doing this work for over 30 years, and it's not been easy.
We have to remember why we started, the importance of why we keep going, and we need the community to work with us, because we cannot do this alone. It starts within us, and we continue to do so for the communities that we serve, and all the connections that we make along the way, they stay within us.